Well, I guess that I just need to go look at the Crawford project and see what the first task is for the first project, huh?
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, so for the first Crawford project, project number one is just the molecular geometry and rotational constant analysis. All right. So the first thing here is the first thing that it wants us to do is to read the coordinate data from input. Okay, so the input to the program is the set of Cartesian coordinates of the atoms in the units of Bohr. I'm not going to read the rest of that to you. So I guess the first thing that I need is I probably need to grab an input file. Well, I guess I don't have to. I guess I can I guess I should grab the input file. Um,
It's probably easier to copy and paste.
okay.
Unless you want to
And like,
clone the whole repo, it can be kind of difficult to. I guess you can download single files, but
yeah. Um, okay. So actually, this is a question that I have. So when it comes to if I wanted to make this like an external file out of outside of main.rs, do I need to put it in the source directory?
no, the source directory should be reserved for Rust files. And
Okay,
this is
so
actually, for both you and everybody watching, this is a big reason that I use either Project EL or Projectile to make sure I'm compiling from the root directory.
I see.
Because if you do that, all of the file paths that you write in your file will, in your Rust code files, will also be relative to the root directory. So you could put this in the root of your Crawford projects directory and then
Right.
just refer to it as like geom.txt.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay.
Or what I often
So.
do is make a test files directory. And so then you just
Oh,
refer
okay.
to it as test files slash geom.txt.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because if we get far enough in here, I'll show you how to write some tests too. But for now, we're just going to we're going to try to write everything inside of main. We're not going to worry about functions or tests or anything for now.
Okay. All right. So in Emacs, how would I like make a new directory? That
So
way I don't have to like.
if you find a file in a directory that doesn't exist, it will just make it for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So if I did like test files and
Yep.
then like that, and then I did geom.txt.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that is so cool. Perfect.
Beauty. And save that,
Money.
and it should. I think it'll ask you if you want to create the directory, but you can just say yes. Yep.
Yeah, dude. Please. Okay, perfect. All right. Now I can go Control XB, switch back to this buffer,
Yep.
switch back to this. Okay. So the input. All right. So I got to read the coordinate data from input. So I guess the first thing I need to do is figure out how to open the file and then read the file. And I guess the easiest thing to test if that worked is just to print the file again, or at least to print the contents of the file. Okay. Sweet.
Beautiful.
Okay. So now I guess I need to look at the document. I need to look at the documentation in order to figure out how I want to do that. Because I don't, in Rust, I don't know how to open a file for reading specifically. I guess I need to just start there.
Sounds good to me. I
Um,
think I'm gonna start eating. I think if you search
okay.
file in the documentation, you will be you'll probably find what you want.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to search for file in the documentation.
You're
And
searching the book.
should I have done this instead?
Yeah. The yeah.
Okay. File. Okay. An object providing access to an open file. All right. Well, okay. An object providing access to an open file. So an instance of file examples. So here's an example. Creates a new file and writes bytes to it. Okay. Oh no, I want to do read the contents of a file into a string. What are you doing? What are you smiling about over there? Am I doing something wrong?
No, I'm just impressed by the documentation. I mean, look at these examples.
Yeah,
What?
these are pretty neat
Remind
examples.
me what you wanted to do again.
I just want to read I want to read the contents of a file. Read the
Sounds like you're in the
contents of a
right
file
place.
into a string. Okay, so it looks here then that I need to do that whole thing right there. Whoa, what is this question mark here for? Is there a way for me to click on it? What's going on?
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. Just go ahead and copy it for now.
Okay. All right. So back to eglot. All right, func main. I guess I don't need this anymore, but I guess I can delete that in a second. So I'm gonna do this. Oh, I don't. Oh, wait. This is supposed to be on the outside of this.
Okay. So this might be a good time to talk about the question mark operator. uh, hmm. Yeah, I was really impressed by the example that told you exactly what you needed to do. But it's already added a lot of like syntax features. Okay,
Yes.
so Rust is very careful about operations that could fail.
Uh huh.
So basically, anything that can fail. Actually, put your cursor on result up above, and hit Control C D. I'm not sure that that's actually bound. Okay, type meta x ldoc el doc. Yeah, try that. Okay, there you go. So pretty much anything in Rust that can fail, uh, when Rust is well written. So there are ways around this where you can just panic, or you can do something called unwrapping that just crashes. But
Yeah.
most things in Rust that can fail will return a result. And
Okay.
when you look up at the top, it says pub type result less than t greater than t. So
Okay.
we're already talking a little bit about generics. So that means that result is generic over some type t. So it says equals result t comma error. So a result can either be okay with some value inside of it,
Okay.
exactly, or it can be error with some other value inside of it.
Okay. So it can be one of. Okay. It can be one of two things. Either the result is good and it's fine. It's good. It's whatever,
Yeah,
or it's not good. So here you go. Here's an error for you.
exactly. And so this is a way. So in Go, well, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try to avoid talking about other languages. I know I did that last time we were learning. Actually, when we were learning Go, I think. So I'm not gonna refer to any other languages. So, uh, yeah, this is basically a way to encode success and failure at the type level. So that the compiler, without you even running the code and finding out that something bad happened, when you run it, the compiler knows if you've handled both cases or not.
Okay.
So what the question mark does is it takes one of these results and it either oh it
Oh,
actually does
dude.
tell you.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So used in question mark to decide whether the operator should produce a value or propagate a value block to the caller.
Yep, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
Yeah.
basically what it does is if there's an error, it returns that error, and if there's not an error, it just gives you the value inside.
Or propagate a value.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is actually
Oh, okay, okay. I see. So the produced value or the produced value would be like the error because it's something that you wanted to work didn't work or no?
yeah. This documentation is actually kind of confusing.
Well, because all right. So if I'm what all right, just for the context on the
So
screen.
okay, the best way to explain this actually, well, go ahead with what you were saying. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. So all right. I don't know what let mute file or let mut file. I don't know what that does just yet, but I'm assuming that just says here's like we're calling a file or we're setting a file. I don't know yet. I'm assuming that it says file open the file. The question mark is if the file does not exist, we can throw or it throws up an error.
Yes.
Okay.
So, okay. The this is why, like, this is bringing in so many things at one time. So, a result is actually an enum. I think we looked briefly at enums the other day, but enums let you say that a thing can either be one thing or another thing.
Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
like, you can have an enum fruit, and the fruit can either be an apple or an orange.
I see.
Something like that. But the important thing with this is that enums can be exhaustive. So that if you use this other thing called a match, the compiler forces you to handle every case. So
Okay.
if you delete this question mark,
Mm-hmm.
let's go ahead and let's do this, because this actually should make it more clear what the question mark is doing. This is how it's usually presented first before you use the question mark.
Okay.
So go to the question mark, take it out. Take out the semicolon. Well, actually, you see the type. See how the type changed to result file error?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, go before file open and write match.
But what?
Match.
Just write. Okay. Match.
Yep. Space. And then, yeah, go back to the end of the line.
Okay.
Those inlay hints are kind of annoying with how they jump around. No, take that out. So this is like basically a sequence of ifs. So there's gonna be curly braces after this. Just do an open and close and then a semicolon. And then escape. And go back to the go to the file. We're gonna try to use the language server to write some of the code for us. So if you type I always bind mine to Control C A. I don't know if just type metax eglot code actions.
Okay.
Well, that's upsetting. Go back. Put your curly braces back. I think that's why it's upset.
No, wait. What happened to him? Why did they go away?
You hit undo.
Oh.
Semicolon. Okay. Back on the file. Let's try the code actions again.
All right.
I'm gonna be upset if this doesn't work.
Eglot code actions. Oh, look at that.
Fill match arms. Yes. Beautiful. Okay. So there you go. That's what we were trying to say with the question mark. There are two options for what comes out of file open. It can either be okay or it can be an error.
Okay.
Okay.
Or error.
So this is just the syntax of a match statement. You've got a thing on the left that you're pattern matching, basically. And then you have to have this little arrow. And then you have some block of code that happens in that case. So, yeah, if you go there, delete that underscore, and just put an F. And you'll see, yep, the inlay hint says that F is a file. So this means you successfully opened the file.
Okay.
So in that case, you can just, instead of that to do, you can just give it F.
Give what an F?
Just remove the whole to do up to the comma, and then just say F.
Okay.
So does this make sense?
I guess.
So the match says call file open.
Yes.
Look at what it returns. If it returns me okay, holding a file, just give me back the file.
Okay.
So this thing the thing we're doing on the left, it says it gave me an okay variant, is what it's called, of the enum.
Okay.
and that variant contains an actual file. So I just want to unwrap it, take off the OK, and I just want the file.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good.
And then, actually, in the error case, we could do something similar if we could actually look at the type of the error and do something in the block. But
Okay.
in our case, we didn't really want to do anything with the error. We just wanted to exit the file.
Okay.
So we can actually leave it like it is and just have it
Yeah.
say to do. So if you fail to open the file, it's just going to trigger that to do.
Okay.
Does that
All
make
right.
sense?
Perfect.
So that's why
Yeah.
people like the question mark operator, because it does all of this for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you like the question mark operator,
Yeah.
or would you rather know that that's, or I don't know.
No, I mean, I know that the question mark operator does this for me, so I like it.
Okay. All right.
Although in this case, there's something else that you can do that's actually it's kind of dirty. And you don't want to do this in like real Rust code, but there's a method on results called unwrap that
Uh-huh.
just unwraps it, kind of like the question mark does, but it panics if it fails. So
Okay.
you'll notice that the main function here, unlike your hello world, it actually returns a result itself.
Yeah, this thing right here, right? Because I'm assuming this means that here's the function. This is what
Yep,
it returns.
exactly. So the main function is allowed to optionally return a result like this, just so that you can use question mark inside of it. But if we didn't want to do that, which I wouldn't have done if we hadn't copied the example from the book, is you can just write file open dot unwrap, and that will either give you the F or it will fail. Like the program
Okay.
will just crash, which is a bit
Okay.
simpler. But fortunately, now we've gotten to talk about the question mark. We've gotten to talk about match. We talked about enums and variants and all kinds of stuff. All just to open a simple file, huh?
Oh boy. All right, so I have a question
Yeah.
about what is this up here then? Like, are these like just package it? Like, I don't know what these are.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So this
I see that it says mod right
yeah,
here.
they're called modules in Rust.
Okay, so like use the standard module. Inside the standard module, we're going to use the FS sub module,
Yep,
and
file
within
system.
that we're going to use the file struct.
Exactly.
Okay, and then prelude is just a. And then what does this star mean? Does it just mean like everything
Yep.
within prelude we're
Yeah,
going to use?
just like in the shell.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
prelude is not actually a special name, but it's idiomatic to put a bunch of things in prelude that people are likely to want. So that you can just
Okay.
import prelude star. I also never do that.
Yeah.
Because what it's importing is actually a trait, which is that we talked briefly about this the other day, but a trait basically defines some set of behavior for something that can have. So when you go down a couple lines farther and you call file.read to string, I think read to string is provided by the read trait.
Okay.
So you have to import the read trait for it to be in scope, for you to actually be able to call that function.
I see.
So instead of using standard IO read directly, you can just import the prelude.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There you
All
go.
right. Well, that's a lot from this.
Yeah. No kidding.
How do I add a comment?
Slashes, forward slashes, 2 of them.
Okay. Or just use a question mark. Instead of match. Okay, perfect. All right, so then moving on from. All right, another question. I'm assuming that let is this. We're just saying let if there was no mute. Obviously, we would just say let there be a variable called file. Okay, but this mute, from my limited understanding from reading like the first chapter of the Rust book, mute is just saying let there be this variable called file that we will change. We can change later if we want to. Okay. Because if we just said let file, whatever we set file to, it won't change for the rest of the time that we use it, right?
That's right.